welcome to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I left the Netherlands. So if you're interested, hang in there and let's get started. So before I get into the reasons of why I left the Netherlands, I first want to make a sort of a disclaimer if you want. These are the reasons why I personally left the Netherlands, so more specifically, that drove me to maybe migrate to another country, to drive me out of the Netherlands, and not the reasons why I was attracted to Cambodia. And these are my reasons. Some people might experience the Netherlands the same way, but also other people might have different experience of the Netherlands, and that's completely okay. I just want to tell you the reasons why, and for some people, it can be helpful to have somebody to actually vocalize that which they have been feeling maybe so far. So, okay. So now we have that out of the way, I want to tell you the first reason, and has basically something to do with the climate and my health. So, as some of you might know, the Netherlands has a rather mild climate, but actually, a mild climate in reality means that maybe 8 out of 12 months, most people would consider it cold and humid. So the Netherlands has a climate that is generally, not always, but generally quite cold, um, like too cold to walk outside without a jacket, and also quite humid, which means that um, there's a lot of rain and mist, and it's basically the climate of a swamp. Maybe it's like a cold swamp or something. Now, of course, during the summer, and that's the time in which I'm recording this video, it can be quite warm. It can be 25, 35 degrees Celsius, but that generally only lasts for a few weeks or at maximum a few months, and then it starts to become cold again. And the last couple of years, I've been watching my health a little bit better, paying attention to my health, and I basically noticed that every time it started to become cold again, and like maybe from November, December onward, I started to get like colds um, throughout the whole winter, and sometimes even going far into spring. I would have colds, and like sometimes I would have like pretty bad flu. Um, Actually, last winter I did have a pretty bad flu, like so bad that I think I didn't I even just didn't teach for a few days, even from home. And I also like had a small outbreak of some kind of virus after that, because I think my immune system was like lowered or something because of the flu, and then something else also took the opportunity to infect me, and I had to go through that. But it was all not that bad, and I've done I've had blood work done by my general practitioner in the Netherlands, and everything is just fine with me, you know. But I do tend to get a lot of colds and sometimes flu or even corona sometimes during winter, and that's not that's in itself is already not so good for your health. You know, going through that every single year. Also, if I pay attention to myself, I get pretty pale. Also, you know, I become very pale, and it's just struggling to remain healthy. Even though I try to eat healthy and I try to do a lot of sports, it's still a struggle to be healthy. It seems in the Netherlands for me. And that has something to do with the climate in the Netherlands. So I thought maybe I should go to a warmer climate and try living there for a while. Maybe it's better for me personally. Um, while for others maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm a pretty skinny guy. Um, I've always been, by the way, or at least since I became tall during puberty. Um, Always been skinny. I have some parts of my body seem to be strong, but my lungs and respiratory system seem to be quite uh, easily influenced by colds and viruses and stuff like that. So bacteria. Yeah, so that's the first reason why I left the Netherlands, at least for now. The second reason is kind of debatable also, but it's actually safety or my personal safety. Um, in some ways, I didn't always feel safe in the Netherlands. Um, I've had several instances where I became almost a victim of random violence. Um, there have been some particular instances where, for example, I would take a walk in the evening after dark, because I just wanted to stretch my legs and maybe I worked all day. And when I walked around the corner, there were some guys standing on the other end of the street, and when I passed there to cross the street, one of the guys almost like seemed to walk up to me to attack me out of no reason. Um, uh, but there was another guy with him, or two other guys, and one of them he like grabbed his friend or the guy that wanted to walk up to me and stopped him and heard something like, "No, you're not gonna do that." That's what I heard him say. Um, but yeah, some sort of like it seems to be that I have a pretty high risk of becoming the victim of random violence. Also, once when I was going traveling by train back from Rotterdam to my home city, I to Delft actually was the city where I'm from. Some guys of non-Dutch origin, by the way, they sat down near me, um, North African origin, I should say. I think that's still politically correct. And they started to. One of them made a joke, so randomly, about grabbing my ponytail and just smacking my head against a chair in front of them, and then I don't know, just destroying me or something. Like out of no reason, out of no. I didn't even look them in the eyes yet, and they made a joke like that, and then it was actually recently, still this year, that they noticed that uh, I heard what they said, and then they sort of like they said like, yeah, we were just joking or something, and then they started to talk to me, like four guys sitting next to me, four guys of around my age, a bit younger, pretty big, also pretty tough looking, and yeah, they ask some random like inappropriate questions. Like you don't just start talking to a person traveling alone like that in a train. That's very rude and inconsiderate of other people's feelings, to say the least. It was very threatening actually, although I kept my cool. In the end, um, they asked me if I wanted to join them to to smack some other guy to the ground, and then I said like, no thanks, I'm going home. And then luckily they even got out at the same stop as I did, but they just went their own way because there were a lot of people there. Also, a lot of people that could notice something was going on. So luckily, I escaped that situation without any harm. Actually, many years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, um, I was actually coming back from another city in the Netherlands called Utrecht to Rotterdam, where I was living there, and I had to walk from the train station to my house, which was like 20 minutes to half an hour walk. And somewhere in like right in the middle of the city center, it might have been quite late, like maybe somewhere between 12 and 1 in the evening at night, 12 and 1 at night. Um, some guys, also of non-Dutch, probably North African origin, as I said before, they actually did attack me out of nothing. I was actually attacked. I was kicked in the back for no reason. I didn't say anything to those guys. I was kicked in the back. I hit the ground, but before they were able to do any more harm to me, I got up and yeah, run for my life basically, because there were two of them. I was like 21. They were like 30 or older. I don't know. Pretty big looking guys. Pretty dangerous, and they were definitely on some kind of at least alcohol, but probably drugs too. And they just decided to randomly attack me out of nowhere. And there have been more instances like that, although less severe. Um, um, yeah, and it seems to me that because of these instances, these are three instances, but this feeling I've had more often when I'm, for example, traveling with public transport somewhere in the Rotterdam, between Rotterdam and The Hague area. Um, Mainly young men looking at me in a sort of disgusted or sort of like frustrated way. It seems to be almost like jealousy. Um, I've thought a lot about this. What it actually is. It seemed to actually get worse during the time when I was actually starting to do better. Um, when I was actually starting to pay more attention to my physical appearance, started to dress a little bit more better. Maybe when I let my hair grow, um, started to grow like a beard. It was actually it seemed like to get worse when I actually was showing signs that I was actually doing better, which makes me believe that I am like a sort of a target of some sort of frustration and jealousy of some people, some young men, especially in the Netherlands. There are some young men in the Netherlands, probably big groups that don't have a lot of opportunities. Maybe they feel like they have been done wrong, they have been wronged by society, and when they see me, and especially when they are in a group, they sort of project their frustration and anger that they have with them latently on me, because then they see me, I'm around their age, but I'm actually doing well, looking like lively out of my eyes. Maybe they think I'm successful or whatever, um, and then they either they become potentially violent towards me. They uh, they just assume all kinds of things, and yeah, that's um, that's the reason why I didn't feel very safe in the Netherlands. I didn't feel completely free to go and stand where I wanted. Um, Now, my safety is sometimes also not too great here in Cambodia because of traffic reasons, but that's a whole other story for another video. Okay, so that was the second reason why I left the Netherlands. The third reason is, of course, yeah, money, cost of living. The cost of living in the Netherlands is, yeah, it's not the highest in the world, but still, apart from food, which is actually pretty cheap, I think, in the Netherlands, um, like supermarket food, let's say. Not restaurant food is not cheap, but supermarket food is pretty cheap. But outside of that, pretty much everything in the Netherlands is quite expensive, especially housing, um, transport, owning your own car or even, well, scooter, yeah, not too expensive, but just all kinds of things. You can hardly think of anything that is not expensive in the Netherlands. Or and of course it's like because Netherlands is a high income country, and so everything that involves any kind of like personal labor is generally more expensive, which is definitely the case for restaurants, for example, or going out, um, or yeah, going anywhere where people are um, involved. And yeah, I was just making a very modest income from my tutoring and writing. I was really not making that much. I was getting by, but um, I was definitely not rich, and I don't know. Like I felt like I could probably live somewhere much cheaper, while for the most part retaining or keeping the income that I have, because I work online. So I was like, one and one is two. Like it's expensive to live here, but I can go somewhere else and sort of kind of maintain the same income, although maybe a little bit lower because I had to stop doing some things, and the time difference is a little bit of a problem sometimes with tutoring, but in general, I'm actually fine. And yeah, so cost of living. Now, I was living in an apartment which wasn't very expensive, thanks to my parents. I wanted to add, um, but still, like at some point, maybe as a person, you want to stand on your own feet and not. I feel like you're not really. It's like your success or the fact that you're doing well is not thanks to somebody else, but thanks to your own doing. That's kind of a hallmark of being an adult, I would say. Not even thriving, but just being able to survive by your own instead of still depending on your parents. Um, and yeah, without that help, I would have probably not been able to live almost anywhere except for maybe in a small room somewhere in a cheaper area in the Netherlands, some sort of student place or something. So yeah, that's that was the third reason why I left the Netherlands. And I guess the last and fourth reason was basically generally having the feeling of being stuck. Um, yeah, I felt like I was stuck a little bit. Like in maybe the year and a half to 2 years before I left the Netherlands, I felt like my life was sort of like improving. I was already like recovering from like anxiety and um, yeah, mm, something like depression or something, which of course always has a cause. But I was kind of like finally after many many years starting to like slowly get climb out of that. But maybe the half year or something before I left, I felt like I was hitting some sort of plateau. I couldn't really step out of it. I couldn't really improve anymore, but I also couldn't really. I felt a little bit stuck, basically, in short. Um, I was doing good, but I also felt like I wasn't really going to do any much better if I didn't make a pretty big change. Um, like I needed some little bit more radical change, I think, in my life. And also, yeah, maybe the fifth and final reason why I left the Netherlands was because um, the Netherlands seems to be in a sort of state in which it seems to be deteriorating, just like many other countries in the West seem to be deteriorating. I think, regardless of what kind of um, what you blame for that, I want to stay out of politics here, but it seems that most people would probably agree that the general trend seems to be that the EU and the United States are like deteriorating a little bit, economically, but also like socially, very badly, mm, culturally, philosophically. I talked about this also in my first video on this channel. I also talked a little bit about why I left the Netherlands and why I came to Cambodia more specifically. So if you haven't checked that video out, you can click the link over here. Um, but no, so yeah, like I really didn't like, or I hated seeing the country where I was born and raised in go to shit, if I may use the word. Um, I didn't like that, like just watching like opening the news every day and just seeing it kind of like go into the wrong direction. If yeah, um, according to me. Let me drink a glass of water, a little bit. Mm, yeah, the news, but also like my personal experience of not feeling safe. Um, yeah, I was like that. This is not really going anywhere good, and I didn't really see like the mainstream changing direction. Although I saw um, a lot of like small grassroots initiatives popping up that maybe want to stem the tide and offer some kind of solution. A lot of alternative news channels on YouTube also. But the general direction, the general news outlets, the general political um, adagium or paradigm seem to be still like one that's only leads to deterioration of the civilization, not just the Netherlands, but kind of like that Western civilization that we have built, and that so many people are attracted to, of course, which is why we have so much immigration. That seemed to deteriorate, and I didn't like that. So maybe I also kind of wanted to, escape that that yeah that confrontation with reality, you can say. And I think I want to end the video with this before I'm going to babble on any longer. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I'm soon going to make another video about should I start a business in Cambodia, and maybe something about street food here in Phnom Penh. So if you want to watch those videos, then subscribe and maybe hit the notification bell. Um, Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.